Hey guys, and welcome to Sports on the Bike with James Brazel. This is your host, James Brazel. I'm going to do something a little bit different. Trying to get back into shape and everything, so I'm starting to get on the bike a little bit. And I thought I might as well start doing something different, help keep the pace of everything going by, help everything go quickly and smoothly. Help myself enjoy exercise, because really no one enjoys exercising that much. So what I plan on start doing is doing maybe a daily podcast, something really short as I'm going through on the bike and hitting up the bike levels and everything. So yeah, if you try and enjoy it, kind of listen in as I'm biking, hopefully everything goes good. This should be pretty interesting in terms of trying to keep a good breath count and everything, and talking sports and actually, paying attention and everything. So let's go ahead and get started. For you guys that don't know me, I'm James Braswell. I've been I'm a journalism graduate from Georgia Southern University. I've been host of several podcasts. First one I ever made was Cawcast, which was an Atlanta Hawks podcast. And the other one that I most recently just finished up with was Storm of the South, which was a Tormenta FC podcast. That one was a local stick soccer team over in Statesboro, Georgia. Now I'm up here living in Marietta, Georgia, doing some full-time work with my National Guard unit. So I get to go out, make videos every so often. Sometimes I'll go out and do other administrative work, but it's been enjoyable so far. Let's forget about me right now. Let's go. And actually, let's talk about some sports for a little bit. One of the things I really want to kind of look at is the Atlanta Hawks so far in free agency. Now, the Atlanta Hawks have been doing... I thought they had a pretty good free agency. And I thought, they had an Atlanta Hawks draft, it wasn't anything too flashy. They went out, got guys they thought they could develop into their system, and I was fine. I was honestly okay with the picks. I like Prince. For the guys that know Prince, but this guy basically, he was the one who made the rant after Baylor lost to Harvard back during the NCAA tournament, when he was asked the question about rebounds. So he's got a little bit of a edge to him, but he's also got a pretty good play style as well. So 12th pick, for Jeff Teague, it's a pretty good pick. The big signing, there's about 2 or 3 big signings during free agency that the Hawks did that really excited me. The first one, the big one, being Dwight Howard. Now, a lot of people are just kind of on Dwight Howard, Dwight Howard started off with the Orlando Magic, took them really deep at the playoffs when he was with them, and then Howard made moves over to the Los Angeles Lakers for a little bit, and then also spent a little time with the Houston Rockets. Now, one thing that a lot of people have talked about with Dwight Howard is how that with both the Lakers and the Houston Rockets, he's been a quote-unquote, or more likely an alleged locker room cancer. Which, with someone with his caliber, the numbers he can put up, it's kind of expected. But he's kind of went through, and he's talked about, with the media and everything, how he's trying to fit himself, how he's trying to format himself into more of a leader and to more of a humble player. And a lot of people, like I said earlier, concerned with his style and everything, and kind of concerned, will he be a distraction in the locker room? And I think Dwight Howard is someone that the Atlanta Hawks really need. He's a really big guy. You know, one of the things that the Hawks really struggled with last year was rebounds. And with Dwight Howard, you're guaranteed double-digit rebounds from him every single night, or at least most nights. So I think that's a really key pickup right there with Dwight Howard in terms of rebounds. Now, I also think, to me, and maybe I may be one of the only few people that thinks this, but I think that Dwight Howard is an upgrade over Al Horford. Now, people are going to be like, well, James, Al Horford's been with the Atlanta Hawks for, you know, he's been with them for 9 years. And I get, you know, Al Horford's been here. He's had the longevity. You know, he's going to be probably one of the, you know, he's definitely going to be in the top 10 greatest Atlanta Hawks of all time. Just because of the longevity. Like, I definitely see Horford getting his banner or his jersey retired at some point. You know, just for what he's done for the Atlanta Hawks. But I think we got a lot to see with Dwight Howard. Like I said, the rebounding. I think he's going to be more of a vocal leader. You know, I'm hoping to see that Howard's more of a vocal leader. I think the big thing that I was really excited about, you know, people who listen to 92.9 The Game here in the Atlanta area know what I mean when they've been listening to these Dwight Howard promos. And he's probably like, when you're listening to him, seeing those, he just sounds so excited. You're like, so excited to be on and doing these promos on 92.9 The Game. You know, and that's the type of athlete, that's the type of leader you want to see. Like, not only out on the court, but, you know, outside the court as well. So, that's going to be awesome. Really excited to see what Dwight Howard is able to put up. You know, the next free agent that I think a lot of people are excited about was Kent Bazemore, who the Atlanta Hawks re-signed. Now, Kent Bazemore, you know, a lot of people were, when it came to like free agents, you know, the Hawks were bringing back. A lot of people were like, well, I'd rather bring Al Horford back over Kent Bazemore. A lot of people thought we were going to be losing Kent Bazemore because Kent Bazemore improved so much being within the Atlanta Hawks system. And a lot of people saw that and they're like, oh my goodness, you know, one of these other teams is going to sign him to like a multi-million-dollar max contract, or excuse me, multi-year max contract. And I think a lot of people were like, oh, sucks, but you know, we're going to be losing Bazemore, and all of a sudden, we see on the news that we're re-signing Bazemore after we sign Howard. We're like, oh, wow, that's awesome. And, you know, one of the big things, you know, I think a lot of people are appreciative of with Kent Bazemore is, you know, one of the quotes that I remember seeing in the newspaper, or he about on the radio the other day, was how he was like, oh man, you know, why leave something so perfect? And I think that quote is so perfect, and I think, you know, it gives a lot of Atlanta Hawks fans hope. You know, this is a place where free agents want to be. You know, this is a place where free agents seeing that they can develop their skills, they develop their talent, you know, bring something to the city of Atlanta. Because, believe it or not, Kent Bazemore, he had so many other offers. You know, he had offers going around for, like, I think he was saying like 20 million more than what the Atlanta Hawks offered him. And he still chose to stay in Atlanta. Because he saw what Coach Bud, he saw what the city of Atlanta could bring for him, and what you know, Atlanta could do for him to help improve him and his basketball. So, Kent Bazemore, we're really glad to see him back in Atlanta Hawks jersey. Now, the third one I really want to focus on, and I don't think a lot of people really talked about this one, was the re-signing of Kris Humphries. For a lot of you guys that don't know, Kris Humphries signed with the Hawks like in the middle of the season last year, or closer towards the end of the season. And a lot of people we're like, oh man, Chris Humphries, you know, he's going to be, you know, he's going to be a good backup and everything. And he was a really great backup. He was one of those guys, and I'm like, oh man, we really need to re-sign Humphries, because he was another guy that could go out, you know, grab rebounds. I'm the type of guy who likes getting second chance points. I like seeing this Hawks team go out and, you know, getting as much these rebounds as possible. That way, you know, it's second chance points for them. Gives them more opportunities to score points, you know, against these teams. So when we re-signed Chris Humphries for, you know, the amount that we did, you know, I was shocked. You know, that was probably one of the better signings that we've had in terms of, you know, bench depth and everything. Not only that, and also I'll name one more along that I thought was pretty well, was also Jarrett Jack. Jarrett Jack, you know, credited as, you know, being the veteran point guard that was able to help Steph Curry develop, you know, into the player he, not necessarily like, you know, he made Steph Curry who he was, but, you know, he was an influence on him. And I'm hoping someone like Jarrett Jack can be an influence, you know, and a help to Dennis Schroeder. And as I talked about earlier, the Atlanta Hawks traded Jeff Teague to the Indiana Pacers for the rights for the 12th pick in the draft. It was a three-way trade between the Atlanta Hawks, the Indiana Pacers, and the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz ended up getting George Hill out of all that deal, so really interesting to see, you know, what Jarrett Jack's going to do to help develop Dennis Schroeder. And Dennis Schroeder, this is going to be his first year as the starter for the Atlanta Hawks. So it's going to be really interesting to see if, you know, how much he improves from the end of the season to, you know, the beginning of this season. And we're always seeing, excuse me, we're always seeing people like, you know, we saw how Jeff was. You know, we saw Dennis. You know, he has his ups, he has his downs. So we're wanting to see someone like Dennis, you know, improve and be consistent. So I think that's the really big thing we want to see at this point. So far we're over a mile and a half. Wow, okay. Okay, that's good. That was a good biking session so far. One movie I've been trying to think about going to see is Ghostbusters. You know, the all-female reboot of Ghostbusters was released about a week ago, I think. Close to it. I'm not sure if any of you guys have been able to see it or not, but it's something that's been on my not necessarily on my bucket list. Just because I've heard so many mixed reviews about it, I'm just kind of like, eh. I've heard it's gone anywhere from, you know, terrible to average. But, you know, it's, you know, different strokes for different folks. So I'm actually interested in seeing it at some point coming up. What do you guys think about so far? If any of you guys have gone and seen the new Ghostbusters, please post a comment, send in a tweet. Whew. It's officially 2 miles so far on the bike. About 14 minutes in, so this is pretty good. Like I said earlier, pretty good session. So yeah, if you've seen Ghostbusters, tell me what you thought about it. Leave a like, leave a comment. You can follow me on Twitter at James. Actually, no, it's not that one anymore. Scratch that. At Jimmy Braswell. I think I've gone through like 2 Twitter handles so far. Or actually about 3 or 4, I don't remember. But right now, at Jimmy Braswell, you can follow me on there. Talk about sports, talk about other shenanigans on there. But I think this is a pretty good first session talking about the Atlanta Hawks while on the bike. Whew. Alright, see you later and take care.